Everyone will tell you an old mountain bike is worth nothing. They are partially right, but the parts bolted to it are a different story. A spokeless wheel from 1990 just sold for over $1,000. Here are 11 you should never throw out, counting down to that one. Starting at number 11, the clamp-on bar ends and the fat knobby tires from brands like Onzook. The porcupine tire was on half the trail bikes in the country, and those little bolt-on bar ends were on the other half. Now let me be straight with you, because most of these are worth almost nothing, and anyone who tells you different is selling something. A scuffed pair off a used bike is landfill money, but a sealed set, still on the card, in one of those loud purple or red anodized finishes, that is the exception, and it is the one people quietly pay for. The reason is simple. Everybody used them, so nobody saved them, and the sealed ones basically vanished. The lesson of this whole list starts right here. It was never the bike that held the value. It was the little things you almost threw in the skip. Number 10. Syncros. In the early 90s, they made stems and seat posts that were overbuilt to the point of being indestructible, machined out of solid metal when everyone else was bending tubes. Vintage Syncros runs the whole spread, from pocket change for a common black post up to over $150 for the rare stems in the right color. Condition and colorway are everything. A cracked one is scrap. A clean anodized one that matches a period build is a part collectors will message you about. Keep the box, keep the bolts, and you double what it is worth. Number 9. The SunTour XC Pro Group and the grease guard version that let you pump fresh grease straight into the bearings. Here is the story most people forgot. For years, SunTour was the giant, the derailleur maker that half the world ran. And then Shimano simply out-engineered them on index shifting and took the market. And SunTour faded out of the sport entirely. That is exactly why a complete XC Pro group in clean shape is now one of the most quietly collected drivetrains of the era. It is the gear from the company that lost, and losing is what made it rare. Nobody kept it because nobody thought it mattered, and scarcity is the whole game. If you have a full group hiding in a parts bin, do not part it out for scrap, because complete original groups are the ones that bring the money, not a lone derailleur. Number 8. The American CNC Crowd, Graftoon and Kuka, plus the Graftoon speed controller brakes. In the 90s, a handful of tiny shops in the States machined cranks and brakes out of billet aluminum and anodized them in colors that still look like candy. They never made many. That is the point. These do not turn up cheap anymore. And a clean anodized set is one of the parts the serious collectors chase hardest, because when they are gone, they are gone. There is no reissue coming. Quick thing before we get into the top 7. Hit subscribe. If you are enjoying this video, it genuinely helps. Now, back to it, and the next one made a company famous. Number 7. Bullseye cranks and hubs. Machined in the States, built around a floating bearing design that people swore by, and now a proper cult item. Clean Bullseye parts step from under $150 for the common stuff into the 700s for the right crank and hub set. And here is the honesty part, because condition rules all of this. Rough bearings and stripped threads knock the value out fast. A smooth, complete, original set is what brings the money. Do not let anyone tell you a beaten one is worth the same. It is not. Number 6. Ringle. If you rode in the 90s, you remember the purple. Ringle made hubs and titanium skewers in that unmistakable anodized purple, and the color is genuinely part of the value now. A Bubba or Super Bubba hub set runs around $200, and the titanium quick releases, the ones they called holy sticks, bring $100 on their own. A pair of skewers. Think about that. People threw these in a jar of spare bolts for 30 years, and that jar is worth more than the frame it all came off. Number 5. Vintage Chris King headsets. King has made the same lifetime part for decades, but the early ones are the Grail. A rare no-logo one in turquoise, or a red two-nut from 1984. The first headset they built on their own sealed bearings sells for several times what a brand new King costs today. Same function, wildly different price, purely because of the finish and the era. This is the cleanest example on the list of a part you would never suspect. It looks like a plain metal ring. To the right buyer, it is treasure. Number 4. The RockShox RS1. This is the one that changed everything. In 1990, Paul Turner built the first mass-produced suspension fork the sport ever had. 50 millimeters of travel on a bike world that until then rode fully rigid. It cost $350 new, which is around $670 in today's money. And within a couple of seasons, it had rewritten what a mountain bike was supposed to be. Clean examples change hands anywhere up to $600 and more. But watch the internals, because the old elastomer springs turn to sticky goo over the decades, and a fork full of goo is a restoration project, not a treasure. Check that it actually compresses and returns before you get excited. An honest, working, original RS1 is a genuine piece of history you can hold. Number 3. The Shimano XTR M900 group. Ask any old mechanic, and they will call this the holy grail of 90s drivetrains. Polished silver, machined beautifully, back before everything went black and plastic, and it still shifts better than a lot of what is sold new. A complete group sits around $450, and a single sealed new old stock cassette can run $300 on its own. Think about that. A cassette. One part of the group worth as much as a decent used bike. I have stripped plenty of tired old bikes for parts over the years, and this is the group I always set aside before the frame went in the scrap pile. Every single time. Because everyone wants it and almost nobody kept theirs clean. Number 2. Cook Brothers Racing. Out of a shop in California came cranks so well made, they are worth more today than most of the bikes they were bolted to. Cook Brothers cranks trade from $150 into the several hundreds. The little dust caps alone bring 3 figures. And one seller recently moved 3 new old stock hubs for $1,167. 3 hubs. That is the purple crank people quietly pull out of a skip and cannot believe their luck. If you find the name Cook Brothers stamped on anything, stop and do not scrap it. And number 1, the Tioga Disc Drive, the tension disc. This is the spokeless wheel, built in Japan. The one where Kevlar strands under tension replace the spokes, and the whole thing looks like nothing else ever made before or since. John Tomac raced it. It won at the highest level of the sport, and that image burned it into the memory of everyone who watched racing back then. Today, it is the single most unmistakable grail in vintage mountain biking. A new old stock kit runs around $600. One clean used example in the UK was listed at £1,250, and even a beaten one holds $300 just for the branding. And they are almost never for sale, which is exactly why the price only goes one direction. This is the spokeless wheel from the start of the video. One wheel, worth more than a garage full of complete bikes. That is how this whole thing works. So here is the thing to take with you. The frame rusting in the shed is not the treasure, and if anyone offers you real money for a whole old mountain bike, take it, because they are the rare exception. The treasure is the box of parts on the shelf next to it. The purple crank, the silver group, the strange spokeless wheel. Now, if you like this, I made the perfect companion to it. I just put together a video on 13 vintage mountain bikes that will be worth a fortune. Whole bikes this time, not just the parts, and the ones you should never sell. To watch it, all you have to do is click the video coming up on your screen right now, and I will see you inside. And tell me down in the comments, what is the one part you threw out that you wish you still had? I read everyone.